year now. We are on the date, the 25th of Nisan, marks the Hilula of Rabbi Abraham ben Levi Conque, very famous rabbi of his time. We actually, many people will commemorate his Hilula on this specific date. The reason being is that I believe the Frankfurt rabbis signed an agreement for his book, let's just say, like a recommendation of one of his Sfarim, and that happened to be on the 25th of Nisan. If I'm not mistaken, that was back in the year 1703. We're talking about more than 320 years ago from the time here of recording. They gave their signature on this book, the Evek Sofrim, which was printed on that specific date. So that's why some people would, let's say, commemorate the rabbis, let's say, Hilula on that specific date in of itself. Now, he was born, I believe, in the year 1648. He was born inside. Now, he would become a Kabbalist at that point in time, especially in the city of Hebron during the 17th century. Remember, Hebron being one of the four holy cities of the land of Israel, a place that we've spoken about extensively on this series. And he was reported over there, he was initially a follower, let's just say, of Shabtai Tzvi, but I think was reported over there he would denounce him before he had passed away at that stage in time. But I would recommend everyone to look more within regards to this entire topic. But albeit it seemingly he did renounce him also, and he was a very famous rabbi in of his era in of itself. Okay, let's explore a few of the highlights of his life. Now, as we said before, he would actually be part of this Sabbatian movement of Shabtai Tzvi, and even he would, let's just say, he would write, I think, some writings within regards to the Shabtai Tzvi in of itself. But according to vast majority of opinions, he will denounce him towards the end of his life at that point in time. Now, just to go into the meat of what actually happened in his life, he was a Shluchei D'Rabbanan, representing the Jewish community in Eretz Israel, and he would travel all around Europe, especially countries like Germany and Russia, and various other places to raise money, I believe, for the poor people of the land of Israel, respectively. That's what was reported of. And now in this series, we haven't really spoken much about rabbis that went to places like Germany and Russia. We concentrated more on rabbis that went towards the North African countries. So, but be it as may, he would actually, let's just say, really do a lot of charity work on that side of the field. And so that is very interesting. So he was very busy and endowed within regards to that. And it's reported over that I think there was a friend of his requested residing on the Frankfurt on the Man, which I believe he would actually write in the year 1689. It was an account reported over of Shabtai Tzvi's life, I believe, which, let's just say, concentrated on his specific state of mind, and that was what was reported over. I think Rav Yaakov Emden, who happened to be also known as Yavetz, who was a leading German rabbi and Talmudist of that point in time, was he himself, I think, chronicled part of the Sabbatian movement. He actually wrote it down in his Zotrat HaKenaot, if I'm not mistaken. So he would actually mention about what actually happened, I think, during that specific time period in of itself. But it was reported over that he would denounce him just before he passed away, or a specific point in time before he had passed away. Okay, that's very interesting. Now, he wrote some famous Torah works, including the Abak Soferim, which is dust of scholars, so to say. That was printed in the year 1704. The first part, let's just say, was under a special title called Em Hayeled, which comprised of Hamiles on the 5 books of Moses, and the second, the Ugat Rezafim, and the various different Torah interpretations, which was written by himself, others, and I think from a third party, and it consisted of 19 sermons. And there was a Minhat Kenaot, which we spoke about before, and which was concentrating on the topic of jealousy, something important topic which everyone should try and stay away from in general. Then the Avak Derachim, which is dust of rose, I should say in English, which is also, once again, a collection of various different sermons in of itself. Now, the last two are mentioned, I believe, by another famous rabbi, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulay, who actually claims to have seen those manuscripts by his hand. Remember, he was also known popularly as a Chida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulay. Very, very great rabbi of his time, who had like an extensive library and brilliant memory and brilliant closeness with regards to Torah books of yester. Yes, so that is also very interesting to state. So there's a lot actually written about him on various different encyclopedias all across the world. And I believe there was a famous man of the name Shlomo Abraham Rosanes, who was one of the great historians of, let's just say, Spanish Jewry of previous generations, would actually speak extensively, or to a certain degree, with regards to Rabbi Abraham ben Levi Conque, I believe, which is very interesting. So, as we said before, it was more in the year 1689 he would start his writings with regards to the Shabtai Tzvi. He was, let's just say, also very much connected with regards to the Amsterdam books in of itself. Many of his books would actually be printed in the city of Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and his teachings. So that is also an interesting tidbit to say. His books are very well known, I think, to some degree. For example, the Avex Sofrim was 387 pages and was printed in the year 1704. So I can actually see it. I think it was printed in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, respectively. So you could learn a lot more within regards to the famous rabbi. You can also say that the book was also, I believe he actually passed away in Hebron in the year 1724. So he would have been about that stage in time, about 76 years of age at the time he passed away. He had famous son-in-laws, including Hacham Yisrael Zivi and Rabbi Abraham Yitzchaki, I think. And they would actually, I think, be part of the Bet Din over there, respectively. More things that we can add within regards to it. I think he was famous with regards to various other journeys between the different cities of Europe. And many of these journeys that he actually took on were under dangerous conditions to raise money for the poor people in Hebron and for Torah scholars. There was a lot of difficulty and trouble at that stage. As we said before, he would travel to Italy, Germany, Holland, and various other places. And when he returned to, I think, Israel in the year 1695, many of his experiences he would actually recount over, especially in the book, The Dust of the Roads. And I think this will actually remain in manuscript in of its form. Yeah, and just going back to it, he was a supporter of the Shabtai Tzvi, I believe, especially initially and towards the beginning. But towards the end of his days, it was reported over that he withdrew his support for Shabtai Tzvi, as I think we stated before, Rav Shalom Abraham Rosanes would actually write that down in of itself. He was well known also for writing various different masters of advice, poems, which rhymed in of itself, with full of sources of Torah, and it became very popular among especially Italian Jews. And he would also deem, let's just say, really learn and study. He had the privilege of studying in the deep levels of Kabbalah realms in of itself. So please, his Hilula is the 25th Nisan. Friends, we're a community here. We're learning about the great rabbis of yesterday. If you're related to any of the rabbis we're speaking about, please let me know. I'd love to hear more. And if you feel anyone's interested in watching these videos, share the videos to others. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel now. I really, really appreciate it. Have a great day and take care, everyone. Be all well. Wishing you all well.